How's it going, everybody? I'm Brooks,
I'm Joe.
and this is another episode of Cantina Reviews Bar Side Chats.
Today we are talking about Toy Story 4,
That we is.
which we saw last night,
Yes.
as of the time we are recording this.
Yes. Remotely recording this.
Yes, we are. So if it sounds a little weird, it's a little weird.
Yes. It is what it is. We do not care. You will listen to our artistic approach.
Yeah, but seeing as how we just ranked the Pixar movies and people actually watched it, if we don't review Toy Story 4 for 3 weeks, it just wouldn't make sense.
Yes, exactly.
So we're going with the remote podcast version.
Yes, so it had to be done just for you guys. So you should feel honored that we did this just for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what do we do? How do we start this?
Well, honestly, here's how I would start this. I was not that excited for this movie.
Yeah, no. I think it was also
in a weird
it was
way.
less advertised too. Yeah.
It actually was. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. I just feel like the marketing wasn't that good. The trailer wasn't like. I'm glad they didn't want to show a lot, but I don't know. I just feel like, and everyone is saying this, but I will reiterate it. I feel like Toy Story 3 had such a perfect ending that I just didn't know what this would be.
Right. Yeah, like what could they possibly do? And they really kind of hit on a very surreal kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Like a paranormal, supernatural kind of feeling here. Where we really get into how toys come to life.
like existential.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, like how they're aware that they're alive and that they shouldn't be.
Yes. Like to put it in the best words possible.
Yeah. No, yeah, so like I didn't really know what to expect. Also because I kind of just felt like The Incredibles 2 and like Finding Dory were good.
Yes.
But not like blowing my mind.
No.
But that being said, I liked it a lot, Toy Story 4.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
We haven't even really talked about it yet. We just saw it last night.
Mm-hmm.
And then went our separate ways. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. It didn't feel unnecessary. That's what I was afraid of.
Right, where it's just like a movie to be a movie.
Yeah, like in a way, it feels like it's tagged on to the ending of Toy Story 3, but at the same time, it feels like it should be there.
Right.
Like basically, and we'll get right into spoilers, but like this is like the story of Woody. Now that like this like part of his life is over with Andy. And it's like...
And he's not like the top toy anymore.
Right, yeah. It's funny. It's seeing like a lot of memes about like Bonnie saying she'd take special care of Woody.
Yeah. And now he's left in the closet.
Yeah, well, I mean, that kind of makes sense that like the sheriff, Woody, wouldn't be like the little girl's favorite toy.
Right.
And like, it's kind of like... I was kind of thinking about this, how like, you know, Pixar, they know who's watching.
Yes.
And they care that it's not just kids watching, which is interesting. Because like they could easily just keep tailoring these movies to kids and just keep doing the same thing over and over. At this point, the franchise has been around for like 20 years.
Yeah, so they know who's looking at it.
Right. But and they could easily ignore that, but they don't. And like we've talked about, especially like in our Pixar ranking, how Toy Story 3 was perfect for our specific time in life. Like we were graduating high school, going to college that summer.
Right.
So it was like perfect timing. This one I was thinking about today is almost like, not so much us, maybe like us, certain people we know, and then like a little bit older, maybe people that were like preteens when the first one came out.
Right.
Because I actually think this one has to do with parenting and like kind of letting go and like moving on.
Right.
So it's like Woody, you know, taking care of Andy throughout his whole life. And then he's like trying to do that with Bonnie again, but he's not fully into it. Like he can't just do it all again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like he's already done it once. He's like worn out.
Yeah. So like, and then like realizing that that's okay, that he could kind of now move on to this other part of his life, like, and in that sense, it's like pretty hefty stuff, you know, like life stuff.
Yeah, like it really dives into like the more emotional side of like kind of like their lives.
Right.
Like it's like, yeah, all right, well, we raised Andy, now we're on to the next one, and then the next one isn't the same feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because it's not really your kid.
Right.
Like it is, but you know, you're not like the top tour anymore. Like that's there for the kid.
Yeah, and he kind of like did this all already, and he's trying, but it's like it's harder.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
Yeah. And then like, yeah, kind of being drawn to like, you know, they reintroduce Bo Peep into it, which that the opening of this movie, it kind of threw me for a loop in like multiple ways, because one, there wasn't a short before it.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is.
Well, I guess they probably count the 45 minutes of trailers now as the short.
Yeah, sure.
As is with any Disney movie nowadays.
Yeah. But so I was like, oh wait, this is it? Like we're starting? And then it was the opening was really effective. Like I was already like, oh man. Like
oh yeah, definitely.
With Bo being sent away and everything, and like the rain, like it just looked so good, like, and it just, you know, it was such a great opener. And then,
well, like you're saying, it really set the tone for it.
Yeah. Well, kind of, and it's funny. Like I got home actually, and then I watched Toy Story 3.
Oh really?
I hadn't watched that in a long time, and then yeah, like when he talks about, like, you know, they kind of huddle up. Andy's older at this point, and it's not that many of them left. And then like they talk about Bo, you know, like it's not explained. You know, she's just gone.
Yeah, which I never really realized in 3.
Yeah.
Like I never even paid attention enough to be like, oh, she's gone.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and then I liked all the new characters a lot. That's another thing that can tend to go wrong with sequels.
Yeah, the newer characters are just kind of like, okay, he doesn't add anything to it.
Right. But I actually liked the new characters a lot, which I didn't expect to like Forky because it looked dumb.
Yeah, but he brought some well-needed comedic relief, if you will.
Yeah, and Key and Peele, their characters, the bunny and the duck,
yeah,
were hysterical. I was like, yeah. Well, one thing I can say about these recent Pixar movies is there's always a scene in them that will have you like dying laughing.
Oh yeah,
that was you know, a couple with those guys, I was just like losing it. And then it reminds me of like the Finding Dory, like little kid tank.
Oh yeah, it's like a war zone.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was good.
Yeah, it's like overall I liked the movie. The ending did not go how I thought it was going to go at all.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
I need to see it again. I can't decide.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I see why they did what they did to kind of like end it here.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like the whole point of these movies was they're all together the whole time.
What?
That's the point.
I was thinking about that last night. So like, yeah, I was thinking about if I liked the ending. I felt happy when Woody chose to go with Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, but then like think about it, and then especially coming home and watching Toy Story 3 right away. The big deal about Toy Story 3 was that no matter what, they were going to stay together.
Yes.
You know, so even if we have to move on from Andy, we have to do something new, whatever, at least we're all together to do it.
Exactly.
So it is kind of, you know, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, that was like just my thing is like the first 3 that like, you know, we kind of like grew up with and everything.
Yeah.
Where that whole thing, like, you know, here's a group of toys that have stuck together. They do what they need to do to like make the kids happy.
Yeah.
You know, no toy left behind. Every single movie, they're saving basically another toy. Woody saves Buzz. Buzz saves Woody. They all save each other. They find a new kid. And then this one, it's like, you know, we kind of do the same thing. We're saving Forky. Oh, well, these movies are very repetitive. Anyway. But in the end, I was just like, oh, nice. That group are now going to become Bonnie's toys, and everybody's going to be happy. They're all going to be together. They're going to raise this kid and then do whatever. But then it's like, yeah, he goes with Bo, and it's like, I see why they did what they did, but I still don't know if I like it.
Yeah, it's like the idea of being okay with moving on to
Right.
new things in your life. Like when you feel like you have completed a part of your life and there is nowhere else you can go with it.
Right.
Like you and like honestly, like it was just like, yeah, I mean, it was emotional. Like when I think one of the biggest moments in the movie for me was like they're like all about to split up. I forget exactly when it happened, but like they're all about to split up, and they're like, Woody's like, I gotta get Forky or whatever, and they're just like, why? Why do you have to do this? And he's like, it's all I have left to do.
Right.
And it's like I can relate, and I could see where like you reach a point where you've just that's it. Like you've reached as far as you're gonna go in a certain point of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it's like I see both sides of it. It's like I like that he made that choice. I like that's where it went, but then at the same time, it's like, no, it's not it's kind of a bittersweet ending.
Right. So it's like I see why they did it. I just hate it. I don't know. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like Buddy and Woods are Buddy. I can't believe I randomly did that. Anyway.
Watch Rob's Sports Report.
Yes.
YouTube.com/Rob's Sports Report.
Plug.
I hope he listens to this now because he's been like watching our stuff lately because he's doing his YouTube channel again. Oh yeah. Our friend Rob, he was on a couple videos back in the day.
Back in the golden age of Cantina reviews.
The basement days.
Yeah. Basement preset days.
Yeah.
Anyway, Woody and Buzz. It's like the whole overarching thing of Toy Story was that at least those two are together the whole time. And it's one of those things where it's like, letting your friend go and everything like that. It's just like, you guys killed my childhood now.
Well, yeah, it's like, you wonder, like, does this put the nail in the coffin for these movies? Or, like,
right.
It's like, I feel like maybe they could do, like spin-offs. But it's like, if the gang's not all together, I don't think
that's not Toy Story, yeah. And it's like, this one was very limited whole group. Like, you didn't really see Jesse, you didn't really see Bullseye, you didn't really see any of them. They were there at times, but it wasn't like a typical Toy Story movie where the whole band's together,
Right. It was very much Woody's story.
Right, and it's like him moving on, and I get that. Yeah. But it's like they could just come out of left field and Toy Story 5 could be a completely different story where somehow they're all back together now.
Well, it's funny because I watched this thing. It was an interview with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, and Tim Allen was like, I read it, and I was like, what? Like, that can't happen. And he's like, I pitched this whole thing where, there's a way out of it and they can get back together. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to go with that. and what's funny is it kind of reminds me, because so many things nowadays do, of Star Wars, where it's like you have this established franchise and people come in and they're just there to change it up.
Right.
And these people that have been doing these characters for decades are kind of like, what?
Exactly. It's like, why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you do need change.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope it changes for the better and somehow they get back together. Because, like, I thought it was going to be one of those things where, like, a post-credits scene, they're just like, I don't know, like, they're all hanging out at the carnival and they're just like, let's go see the gang or something like that. And then that kind of sets up the fifth movie, where it's like now the fifth movie is them finding each other again. Where, like, Bo wants to see everybody, Woody wants to see everybody, the other toys finally want their own kid or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I mean, if I would have never thought they'd make a 4. So, right. Like, what would stop them from making a 5?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm sure a ton of people are going to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Over the next couple of weeks.
I think it said it was like the second biggest animated opening ever. I don't know what number 1 would have been.
I don't know. They probably somehow have Avatar shanghaied into that. Well, there's CGI's animation, so.
Yeah, true.
What would it be? Number one box office something?
Like animation. It wiped the floor with Chucky. I will say that.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Tops, blah, blah, blah. Toy Story 4 tops opening weekend box office. It looks like last year's Incredibles 2 was the highest grossing opening for a Pixar movie. It was $182.7 million when it opened. Then it was Finding Dory at $135 million, and Toy Story 4 at $120 million. Interesting. Although, when you really think about it, like, as much as I do love Toy Story, I really do love The Incredibles.
Also, it makes sense to me because both of those, there hadn't been a sequel yet.
Right, so those were the sequels.
Yeah, like it was very long awaited.
Yeah, so for one of those, as far as a fourth movie goes. Oh, geez, so Toy Story 3 debuted with $110 million and went on to gross $415
Oh my god.
million. The original Toy Story opened at $29 million. And then Toy Story 2 on the opening weekend was 300,000. Like just 300,000, not 300 million.
That's it?
Yeah.
Jesus. What happened?
I don't know. I guess people weren't into movies that much back then. I don't know. I'm like trying to think.
Well, I mean, definitely there are more now, but like that's pretty crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, but that animation was like really new at the time as well.
Yeah, so it wasn't like people were. Yeah, this is like the 50th Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Back then, that was like the 8th.
Yeah.
So like, Pixar
wasn't like the second or third?
Oh, I thought you meant like Toy Story 2 and 3. Yeah,
Toy Story 2 was like
the Toy Story. I don't remember.
I think Toy Story was the first one.
Gotcha.
And I can't remember if Bug's Life happened or they went right to Toy Story 2.
Was Toy Story the first one?
Yeah, first one's Toy Story is 1995. They did Bug's Life and then Toy Story 2.
Oh, gotcha. Oh yeah, it's only the third movie.
Yeah.
Incredibles 2 is the highest. Interesting. But yeah, you get like also if you look at that list of the highest grossing Pixar movies, primarily the newer movies are the ones that have grossed the most.
Yeah.
And that's because of the hype.
Well, now it's like the hype is huge for everything nowadays.
Holy crap.
And people really do go see everything.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Incredibles 2 final total was $608 million.
Wow.
That is nuts. I didn't realize that Forky was that guy from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Now that I know that, I find that character way more funny.
Yeah, but to get back to it, I mean, I did like it a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a good story. Really I was into it the whole time,
The animation was insane.
Yes.
The scenes where they're showing like the merry-go-round and like just like the park, I was like, it looks real. It looks like if you would have told me it was a real park and they just CG'd the toys onto it, I would have believed it.
The animation has definitely come such a long way. It's crazy. All in all, I did like the movie a lot. I'm kind of like waiting for a new one.
It stands up amongst the other ones. It feels like it belongs in the franchise.
Yeah, like it wasn't made to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah. I highly recommend it, and I might definitely go see that again.
Oh, I definitely will at some point.
And then I guess what is the next one up on the list here? It's Spooderman.
As far as movies,
gotcha. Spider-Man, yeah, it's kind of a big month next month too. A little bit. You got
crazy. I haven't seen an MCU movie in like weeks.
Yeah, I know. I've been really chomping at the bit to see another one here.
Yeah. And then like we'll see The Lion King, and then
yes, Lion King, Spider-Man. Is that Cops? Is that Hobbs and whatever movie coming out? Is that this month?
Yeah. I do want to see that.
No, that's next month. Oh, that Crawl movie's this month with those crocodiles that eat everybody after a hurricane. Yeah, definitely not.
I want to see. I want to see that movie where the Beatles. Everyone forgets about the Beatles.
Oh yeah, which one? What is that called again?
Yesterday. That's coming out next weekend, actually.
Is it? Oh yeah! Wow. This one coming out. Yeah. Huh. There are a lot of good movies coming out.
Yeah.
And then what else? Oh yeah, It Chapter 2 is early September.
Ooh yeah.
Why would you not put that in October?
I don't know.
Huh. Guess they didn't want to compete with the Joker movie.
Oh yeah.
That had to be. They're probably so afraid.
That's all right. That's going to be like a philosophical masterpiece.
Yeah, supposedly.
From what I've read on Twitter. So.
Yeah, him dancing on the stairs is really going into a whole different dimension.
Well, you see, it reflects the first shot where he's walking sadly.
Yes, that is the point.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Definitely keep an eye out. We got more podcasts up, more podcasts coming, more videos in the
pipeline. Check out our Pixar ranked video. It's the last video that we posted.
Yes, and let us know what you think as far as the ranking goes. Yeah. So once again, I'm Brooks.
I'm Joe.
This has been another episode of Cantina Reviews Barside Chats.
Yeah.